were a target. I didn't want to be targeted. I didn't want to get beat up or worse, killed. I mean, I remember this guy from high school, O.C. Mitchell, and he used to wear, like, he used to be sharp every day. I mean, he would have on, like, white baggies with purple fringes down the side with a matching bow tie and leg warmers and, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, I would try to venture into expressing myself through the way I dressed. But also, too, because of the church I belonged to, it's like, if I wore anything too outlandish to school that day, by the time I got home, my mother was like, "What did you have on today at school?" And blah, 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 you know, whatever. I had to get an earful from her. So I tried to stay a little bit, like, conservative. And it's like people like that were being targeted. I like I'm trying to think of O.C. Mitchell. I can't think of a few other names, but there used to be like a cluster of people that obviously were gay that were constantly getting beat up and whatnot just for expressing themselves. Now, you tie it in with transgender people, it's like at some point you feel like your body doesn't match your inward spirit. And I guess it's up to the individual to decide how they want to handle that. But yes, they deserve their rights. And I mean, if it wasn't for transgender people, the average gay guy wouldn't be able to hold hands walking down the street. I mean, this is stuff that people that stuck their neck out when nobody else was doing it, you know, putting their neck on the line so that we could, like, get away with more stuff than we get with, you know. It's just, yeah, I think transgender people, we owe them a lot because they're the ones that take the brunt of the they're like the frontliners in this whole, like, war against non-acceptance and conformity and whatnot. Like, they are, and it's coming out more and more now. I mean,
it's a war of peace. You know, the way how I look at it, it's a war of peace, you know. God knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, who are you to say, how do you know what it feels like to grow up and
else. Just to be someone else, period.
Someone else inside you, and like how much of that are you willing to express or you know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, fine, if you want to live a closeted life. I mean, I guess on some levels my life is somewhat closeted just for the aspect of that nobody in my friends or family are just going to come up to my face and be like, "Are you a fag?" No, and nobody's going to say that to me.
Right. Well, you know what I had done to me when I was in high school. You know, I would come into school and everybody would like think that I'm like this straight hot guy, and then when the teacher would force me to talk, I would get smoked. And I was always afraid to talk, and people were mean. People were really, really mean.
Yeah.
You know, and people did not understand that it was a problem for me as a mental not, you know, it was mentally and physically like irritating me, and it was a problem for me because I couldn't do anything without anyone coming to me and saying, "Are you a boy or a girl?"
Well,
you know, nowadays I don't have that problem. I'm like, well, do I look like a boy? Or do I look like... They still fuck with me. They be like, you know, well, you sound kind. You know what I mean? But, you know, everyone has their personality.
Yeah.
You know? It has nothing to do with your insides.
The main ones, too, that are the meanest towards you are usually the ones going through something themselves.
Correct.
And they don't know how to deal with it, whatever it may be, and they take it out on you.
Well,
you're like a power reflection of what they are trying to deal with.
I must have been a magnet. A shade.
Oh, yeah, I did.
You know. So, you know.
Now, how many of those people that were mean to you later on was trying to have you later on?
Oh, boy. Wow. If someone was to ever hack my Facebook, it would be a national scandal. No shit. But you know what? I've always been me. I've always been me, no matter what. If it's cat or if it's boy, I'm a very comical person. Everyone who has gotten to know me as a person knows that Izzy or Kashmir is a very lovable, funny, easy person to get along with. You know what I mean? There's really nothing more to say than that. If someone were to come to me with shade, it's because you didn't like me. It wasn't because I didn't like you, dear. Because if I didn't like you, I wouldn't have been in your presence.
Or they came to you, they didn't like you because they didn't like themselves.
Oh, because I was very, I had a lot of horrible negative things that I went through, but I took my dosage with a smile, and that was one of my things. I've always been, great with acting and characters and creativity and doing things myself. Like I was a very spontaneous, curious boy, and I wanted to know what everything was too early, and the fact that I was born in the 70s, so the fact that I come from a 70s home it was easy for me to go out into the street at an early age and hang out, and I had a lot of freedom, basically.
Ooh, so. Not me. I was very sheltered and corralled growing up. One of my cousins or uncles tells a story of, they said my mother used to follow me around with a face cloth, would never let me get dirty until one day one of my uncles picked me up and threw me in a mud puddle.
Oh, yeah, that's how my family was. They were very you know what? You want to be feminine? You're going to do boy things. So I was constantly being punished. I was a mechanic. I was a cleaning serviceman. I was everything. But you know what? I served them all. I gave them what they wanted. And that kind of helped me, gain experience. So a lot of these things that I've been through, not only hurt me, but they also taught me a lot of valuable things that I now use in my life to get by.
Okay, I just thought about something too, going back to my father, how he took my orientation. I remember being like 12 years old. We were visiting the family in the summer in the South, in Tennessee. I was born in Tennessee, but I wasn't raised down there. And I remember being in my Aunt Kim's bedroom, and she had one of those doll heads with a little tray on it. And I was just sitting down, I was brushing the hell out of that doll head. Having a good old time, just content and everything. My father walked by the bedroom and saw me sitting on the floor. Oh, my God, he grit his teeth and like, put that goddamn doll down. Because he was embarrassed in front of the rest of his family. And I was looking at him like, why? I didn't understand what the problem was.
Yes, I've had my share of dolls.
So I was like, I just didn't pick up onto it until later on. But by that time, people knew what time it was all along.
Yeah, except for you. Ain't that weird how you're the only one who doesn't know that everyone knows? You think you're the actor. And sometimes you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, you know what, Mom? I'm gonna fuck you up. I was like, you knew the whole time, bitch. And she was like, oh, I knew you were gay since you came out of my you-know-what. And I was like, are you serious? And like, yes. When you first talked, you sounded like Fido Goes West. I was like, oh, God. And,
I was drinking. I'm not sipping tea. I'm drinking coffee. I almost spit it out.
So, after that, I took it as like, oh, damn, like, okay, well, I took it as like I was free. I felt free. Like, I was like, okay, so you accept that I'm gay or whatever? She was like, you know what? She was like, I'm going to love you and I'm going to accept you no matter what. And then she pulled me to the side. She said, listen. She said, you can literally be whatever you want to be and I'm going to support you. I'm your mother and I'm always going to love you. You know what I mean? And that was really important for me in my life, coming from my mom telling me that. Because the next thing I became a fat queen. Surprise! She came together.
Wait a minute, you lying.
No, I'm not lying.
Word. Now, see, I never, a few times I've dabbled in drag, but I never could walk in heels, so that just wasn't really going to... That's why I was into Jody Watley, because, see, I could wear a crinoline with high-top sneakers. and a bustier.
Okay. Well, I came from an interracial family, so it was constant battles. It was cha-cha versus, dominance, and there was the girls, there was the aunts and the female cousins and my sister and my mom, and then versus my brothers, all my brothers and my uncles and my dad and grandpa and all of that, and then came the queen of all time, my grandmother, who always came to save my fairy day. She was like my fairy godmother, so it was basically like, you really couldn't fuck with me. My grandma let me get away with a lot of murder. Shout out to my grandma. I love her to death. Like I said, she passed away last year on my birthday, so it's gonna be hard for me this year. And and my family. Not only did I learn off of my family, though, they taught me. Like I said, they taught me very valuable things. They taught me how they were there for me when it came to taught me how to survive in this world. You know what I mean? Shout out to that. But I also taught them not to be so closed-minded and to learn about things that will be happening in the future. And I've been through a lot with my family. Put it this way, my stepdad got a divorce from my mom. And I brought a femme queen home one day. And he thought it was a female. And he was in love with her. Okay? And I sat there for a whole night, and I brought her over the next day, and I listened to him all night talking about how fabulous she was, and her breast, and this, that, and the third, her body, she's beautiful, can I hook her up? And I told him at the very, 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 very end, right before I turned off the lights to say goodnight, I was like, well, I hope you know that she's transsexual. She is a man. And I thought he was going to cringe. Boy, was I wrong. And, and that's how, to be honest, that's how me and my stepfather actually got along. Because before that, it was like, I don't see you, you don't see me, and if you try me, we're going to beat each other. It was this thing. My family was that. Yeah, we're a TV show all in its own. Rodriguez!
Now you guys are palsy-walsy now, huh?
Oh, yeah. Now the younger kids. Us younger kids, we're watching the older ones act a fool now. Because now they have a little ballroom scene of their own coming on. This one became a PhD. This one is a doctor. That one is a lawyer. I make more money than you. You already know how it is. Scandals.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's just the way it goes. But you know what? It was so awesome having you on the show. We're coming close to the end.
Oh, well, thank you. I enjoyed myself.
No, we are honored. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to ballroomradio.com and telling us your ballroom scene history about Chicago, Midwest, and Ohio, and, the House of Enigma. Shout out to the House of Enigma. Shout out to you, Icon Aaron Enigma. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you have done here on the show for us, and it was so interesting having this interview with you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Before we go, I would say if you want any information regarding archives of the Chicago ball scene or just ball scene in general, you can go to houseofenigma.com. That kind of links up to a lot of stuff. And I had to migrate that website, so some of the links may not be working. But as soon as I get some time to even like the magazine and everything is like all archived there. And then just my regular professional website is AARONPIERREBROWN. It's AaronPierreBrown.com. All together, no spaces. That's my portfolio.
Yes, sir. Tell us a little about this archive website.
Well, I mean, just all the stuff from over the years. Like, well, I've tried to keep a record of everything, and I tried to keep things in folders and whatnot, or whatever. Because I get sad every time I hear about one of our icons or mentors passing on, and all their stuff just gets thrown out. There's so much history that just gets lost.
Wow.
So I'm kind of like, I'm just trying to keep my little corner of the